Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I wanted to do basically a announcement video, but it could also just work as my January TBR. So today I wanted to talk about my Salinger January. So a couple of weeks ago when I made my most recent book haul, I showed you a biography about J.D. Salinger, and someone commented about the upcoming anniversary for Salinger, his 100-year anniversary is coming up on the 1st of January 2019. So already about hearing that, I had sort of had it in my mind that I wanted to read all of his works in January, and so that is what I'm planning to do for Salinger January. Basically read through his entire bibliography in chronological order throughout the month. This is basically just me rereading his books and also finally getting to the last one of his that I have yet to read. I'll briefly go through the books that I'm planning to read for this. So first is The Catcher in the Rye, which is the first book that came out in 1951. And this I actually read quite a long time ago, I feel like. I borrowed this from the library when I first read it, and I wasn't 100% sure I liked this book, but I kept thinking about it, and that was why I was sort of drawn to Salinger as a writer. He really lingered with me in terms of this book, and I read it not so much as a young teen, but rather as I think I was probably around 21 or something like that. So I had sort of passed the ideal age to read this book, but I still found something in it that I connected to. So I'm starting with this one and then moving on to for Esme with Love and Squalor, and also called 9 Stories. This is the short story collection that really sold me on Salinger, and in particular him as a short story writer. I reread this last year and planning to reread it again in January, and really looking forward to it because I obviously know that I still love this book, and it is one of my favorite books of all time, and definitely my favorite short story collection I've read up to this date. But I'm looking forward to returning to this again, and this was published in 1953. Next in the order is from 1961, Franny and Zooey. This is 2 novellas rather than short stories, and I read it I think about 2 years ago now, and I liked parts of it, but I didn't connect to it as much as I did his short stories, and I feel like maybe it was just the timing that I read it, and I could sort of tell as I was reading it that I should probably have waited with it, but I'm looking forward to returning to this because I feel like this is one of his books that I just haven't really spent enough time on, and kind of like with The Catcher in the Rye, although it left me with more of a negative overall impression than The Catcher in the Rye, but I still really enjoyed his writing in this, so I'm looking forward to returning to this again. And yeah, so this was published in 1961. And lastly, the one that I still haven't read and that I'm super looking forward to, this was published in 1963, and it is Raise High the Roof Beam, Carpenters, Seymour, an introduction. So again, I think this is 2 novellas. I just recently bought this with the intention of reading it in January. So I don't know anything about this except that Seymour again is a reoccurring character, and that is one of the things I really like about Salinger, that he uses the same characters in different stories, and they sort of reappear in different forms. Characters in the background, they eventually have more of a central role in a different story. So that is something I'm looking forward to reading all of these books one after another, to sort of see those parallels more clearly with having all of the books very fresh in my mind. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading all of Salinger in January and kicking off the year with one of my favorite writers and reading his last book, as I said, that I still haven't read yet. I'm hoping that I can also read the biography that I mentioned by Kenneth Kenneth Swawolski or something like that, alongside these books to learn more about him. And I'm also planning to do at least one video on when I've finished all of his, when I finished reading all of the Salinger books in January, and hopefully also do a review of the biography if I get to it in January. One of the things that I'm thinking I might want to do this year is to do sort of reading one author more closely and being able to sort of compare things in their work and the way that they develop over time, which is something that is sort of in line with my reading goals that I mentioned. I actually did my reading goals video quite early on, but it will be linked in the cards and in the description. But one of my goals was to sort of return more to my favorite authors, or authors that somehow click with me, to sort of dive in deeper into one author's voice rather than just always reading new things. So that is sort of, I think that starting off the year with that, having that in mind, that goal, and also to celebrate Salinger's 100th birthday, just feels very fitting as a start. So hope that you are looking forward to hearing me talk more about Salinger. If you would like to, feel free to join me. As I said, I will be reading them chronologically, and hopefully do some kind of check-in along the way as I'm reading them. But yeah, I hope you're having a really good start of the year, and that you're looking forward to all of the reading you will be doing in 2019. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon.